Tamara. I'm back at Old Stone Fort, right near my house, and I am here today to do my first ever 5-mile hike. I've done 6 miles one time, but it was at our local park. It was paved and, you know, like pretty straight, no hills or anything. So this is my first 5-mile hike, and I'm just taking some pictures along the way. This is going to be a very slow hike, and I thought I would look for 5 pretty places in this park to show you, and then I had 5 of my biggest things to tell you. And I don't mean biggest like they're the biggest, most exciting things, but you'll see what I mean. But first, let me show you this spot, because this is really... Fred just discovered this spot last week and brought me out here to show me. If you happen to catch the video on Facebook where we tried to do a live Facebook and weren't very good at it, you saw us there. We really did not know what we were doing, but you know, it is what it is. Isn't that pretty? So my first biggest is going to be what is my biggest challenge that I'm working on right now. And for me right now, that is a routine. Specifically, coming up with a good morning routine so that I can get everything in during the day that I need to do. I want to hike as much as I can. I still have 2 kids at home. Most of my kids are grown and on their own, you know, moved out and living their own lives, but I have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I homeschool them. So trying to fit hikes in around that is not always easy. I don't mind leaving them if I'm going to the grocery store, things like that, but if I'm hiking, I can be, you know, quite a ways away if they were to call me and need me. But thankfully, one of our adult sons lives with us, so that gives me a lot more freedom to go and hike, you know, either by myself or with Fred, because we know we have an adult at home. They don't need really taking care of, but someone there to handle it if there's any emergencies. And that definitely makes it easier, but just trying to get a good rhythm to my days so that I'm not letting things slide. That, I would say, is my biggest challenge that I'm working on right now. Specifically, getting a good morning routine going, because I'm not a morning person, and since surgery I've been waking up earlier, but I don't always feel like doing stuff, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. And I would like to get that figured out. I've got some good things I'm going through in my head and trying to implement, and it's coming together, but it's not there yet. So that is my current biggest challenge. So, you want to see something cool? Super close to the waterfall. Let me see if I can do this without dropping my phone in. That would be bad. Okay. So this is one of my favorite spots at Old Stone Fort. So this is another favorite spot of mine on the trail. Nothing exciting to see here. There's no cliffs or waterfalls or anything like that, but it's just so peaceful here. I find this spot very contemplative, I think. So my number 2 biggest, I think I'll do what is the biggest negative change I have seen since surgery. And for me, that is definitely hair loss. I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and one of the side effects of that is you can lose your hair a lot. So pre-surgery, my hair was already very fine and very thin. And since surgery, I've been losing a lot more. And from my understanding, it's partly due, okay, well, let me just say I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on YouTube. So this is my understanding of it. It's partly from hormonal changes after surgery, sending more of your hair into the quiet, not growing phase, and also from malnutrition, because with a gastric bypass, your intestines are rerouted, and that means your food does not stay in your intestines as long, and you're not able to absorb as much food, which is why you have to take so many vitamins and supplements for the rest of your life. But that can also cause hair loss, especially if you're not getting protein. And being so close to where my surgery was, Saturday will be 5 months. I'm still not at a normal level of eating by any means. I'm struggling to meet my protein goals and my calorie goals that my nutritionist has set. So that also causes hair loss. And I see it the most like this through here. It's thinning out. I can see it in the mirrors, or if I'm watching a video or looking at a picture of myself, I can see it. And the other day, I was at Walmart, and I happened to catch a glimpse of myself in the security camera as I was going out. And there was a big spot that was very noticeable in the back that I had not been aware of. I know there was patches on the top of my head that were thinning, but the one in the back was really not a good surprise. So I've got a plan on what I'm going to do to deal with that. I'll be talking about that in about a week or so. But yeah, 100% the biggest negative change is my hair loss. Supposedly it's temporary, lasts about 1.5 years. With my already, with the fact that I already had issues with it, I'm not 100% sure that'll come back for me, but it is what it is. Do I want to have hair loss or diabetes? I'll take hair loss. Do I want to have hair loss or high blood pressure? I'll take hair loss. Do I want to have hair loss or an increased chance of dying a lot earlier? I'll take hair loss. So trying to keep it in perspective. I mean, honestly, it's not a health issue to lose your hair. It's a vanity thing. And I think especially for women, Fred was already bald. He doesn't care if he loses hair or not. But I think, for women it might be a little harder, or, a man who hasn't had to deal with that before. But that's the worst side effect I've had. Everything else has been pretty smooth sailing. So I'm about to head down this little trail. This is where it splits. You can go here to do the backbone and the forks of the river. Or you can go that way and follow the green one to get to the moat trail. I'm going to do that I'm going to do that one later. But first I'm going to do this one. Okay, so this area just right down by the river. This is the Duck River. I know there's the little duck and the big duck, and they join to form the duck. I don't know what part that is. But it's a little offshoot off the Forks of the River Trail. And I walked by it all winter long, and I never noticed it until we had greenery, so it made the brown stick out more. But I just discovered it I think not my last hike here, but the one before that. And what it makes me think of is prehistoric for some reason. I feel like there should be dinosaurs here. I don't know. What do you think? Prehistoric maybe? Or, you know, this park, this area, had originally been settled by a native, okay, I'm getting that wrong. This is what used to be a place where different Native American tribes came together for some sort of ceremonial purpose, they think. They didn't live here, but they think there was some sort of ceremonial purpose. There's a spot where the mound walls line up perfectly with the summer equinox, so they think it had some ceremonial significance. And that was somewhere, I want to say around 100 AD to 800 AD is what they're thinking. And they don't know a whole lot about it yet. But this area, I could totally picture from that time period also. But I don't know, more so dinosaurs for some reason. I also feel like if I see a snake out here, it's going to be in this area. So far I haven't. Hoping that luck holds. Still in the little prehistoric area. But I thought, oh, let me show you something else before I go on. This is what's on the other side of the river. It goes way up. Bluffs or cliffs, I don't know what they're called. Kind of cool though. So, woo! Okay. So, the biggest positive change since my surgery, 100% is falling in love with hiking. My mom finds it so amusing because I have never, ever once in my life been an outdoorsy girl at all. You know, even when I was younger, I never wanted to play sports or run around outside. Just leave me in the house with a book and I was happy as a clam. So being outside in nature all the time and loving it and having the increased the increased energy levels to go out and explore places like all these waterfalls and all the other things I never thought I'd be able to do. Loving it. That's my favorite, best part about having surgery. You know, just getting my health back in general, and the side effect that's best is days like this. All right, do I look like an official hiker or do I just look ridiculous? What do you think? My head is sweaty, so like I said in my video yesterday, hiking It's not a beauty sport. So if I look crazy, I look crazy. I am now working on hiking on the Backbone, which is the roughest trail on in this park. Lots of it are really easy, but I'm at this section where the trail's not well marked and you kind of have to scramble. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, but it's very close to the river again. But yeah, that's the way I came. Over there. It's kind of a nice little challenge. So, and this little section's kind of cool. Sitting in among all the boulders. So, since I'm on the most challenging part that makes me struggle the most, I thought I would talk about my biggest struggle. So earlier I mentioned my biggest challenge was getting into a good routine and figuring that out. But I'm going to talk about my biggest struggle, which I don't know what the difference is, other than a challenge is maybe something that you kind of have a plan for going towards fixing the issue, and a struggle is something that's just ongoing and there's not an easy fix and you just have to deal with it. Maybe the thing that you have to work the hardest to meet your goals. And for me, that is my depression and my anxiety. It is something I have struggled with for years and years and years. And I've had various times of trying different medications, and then other times of not doing medication, and feeling like if I was maybe a failure for having these issues, and I wasn't trying hard enough, or things like that. And then there would be times I would take my medication, I'd feel better, I'd say, hey, look, I feel so much better now, I don't need to take it anymore. Not realizing that, oh no, the reason you feel better is because you're taking your medication. So, working with my doctor, what was that? Oh, it was my backpack strap. Thought it was a snake or a bug. Working with my doctor before surgery, I was on a really good medication and a really good dose, and I knew that that would be something that maybe would need tweaking after surgery. So right after surgery, I couldn't take it for a couple of weeks, and then I started at the very lowest dose, which was a third of what I had been on. And that worked great for the first few months. And then a couple of weeks ago, I noticed I just was starting to struggle with it again. It wasn't horrible, but it was definitely not where it should be. And for me, one of the first things I notice is a loss of interest in anything and a lack of motivation, and just finding it harder to want to do anything. You don't enjoy anything. I didn't want to do anything. And so I realized, okay, this is starting to creep back in. So vitamin D has helped me a lot in the past. So a couple of weeks ago, I increased my levels of vitamin D that I was taking to see if that would help first. And it's been a couple of weeks now, and I haven't noticed much change. So I just recently have upped my dosage of my antidepressant to 2/3 of what it was. And I'm going to try that for a couple of weeks. And then, if I need to, I'll keep talking with my doctor. I have an appointment with my surgeon and my nutritionist in about 3 weeks, I think. 3 or 4 weeks. So that'll give me a couple weeks to try it. And then, oh wow, there was just... Oh, it was a huge bird. I think it was a heron, maybe? Are there herons around here? Anybody know? I think it was a heron. Anyway, if increasing it to the 2/3 dosage isn't enough, I'll bring it up at my appointment and then see what we need to do from there. But that's definitely the biggest struggle and the thing that keeps me from I don't want to say, it just doesn't make me want to give up. It's more that before I realize what's going on, I'm just stuck. It just makes everything harder. It kind of feels like, I don't know. I've always, I guess, kind of felt like, ooh, this sounds silly. This sounds really silly, but like you're walking through oatmeal to do anything, you know? You have to do your housework or homeschool, if I have to homeschool the kids, or do housework or come out to hike or whatever it is. Imagine doing that, but you have to wade through a swimming pool full of oatmeal first to do it. It's just harder and more draining. So I'm doing okay though. I'm doing okay. It's not, like I said, it's not nearly as bad as it's been in the past. And I'm monitoring it, you know, talking to Fred about it. I've got other close friends who know, and close family members who know what's going on and are helping me and kind of keeping an eye on me, because I don't always notice it. You know, sometimes it's more noticeable to other people first. And, but yeah, so that's my biggest struggle right now. And now I'm going to put this away and hit the biggest struggle of this trail and hit the backbone. So talk to you soon. So this trail is kind of funny because look at this section. Let me show you. It's a lot more challenging. There's no real clear way to go. You just kind of have to pick your way over the rocks. I tried that way also, but I think this is easier. It's kind of a nice little challenge. But then, as soon as you get past that section, look at this. Super easy flat trail. Crazy. So I'm at the tail end of the backbone. I just have to descend this way. I came from there. No way do I feel anywhere close to being confident enough to hike and film at the same time. So I only do it when I stop. Anyway, I'm not going to have time to hit my 5 miles like I hoped. I'm going to have to get up early in the morning and do it instead of getting a late start like I did today. I probably won't film it all or do any pictures, so I can get 5 miles in before I have to start homeschool with my 2 youngest. But before I hit the ground running, well, I won't really run, but before I hightail it out of the park, I thought I would talk about my last of my 5 biggest, and that is the thing my biggest thing I'm most excited about, and that is traveling to see family. I have seen very, very little of my family this last year, like most of us, but next week I'm traveling to see my parents and my sister and my nieces, my aunt, maybe a few other relatives. The week after that, I'm going to see my son and his fiance. And then next month, I'm traveling to see my daughters and all of my grandkids. And I've already warned them all. I'm going to hug you so long, it's going to be awkward. Prepare yourself. I have a year's worth of hugs stored up. So, I'm so excited about that. So, excuse me, what the heck was up with that voice? It sounded like I swallowed a frog or something. Anyway, I gotta get moving. Boots to the trail so I can get out of here before dark. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, so it's the next day, and I'm back to get my 5 miles in. I'm at 3, did the backbone again, and now I'm doing this part I did yesterday for the first time, where it connects 2 of the trails, but you have to go uphill and climb. So let me show you, because I haven't shown that before. Okay, so that is where I came from. Let's see. That little patch of white there is the opposite side of the river bank from where I was at. So I was roughly over there. It's not a real super wide river. And now I have to climb up that. So I'm doing my new trick of stopping halfway and then recording, so I feel like I'm being productive when actually I'm just catching my breath. So day 2, trying to get this 5 miles in. Technically my third try to do 5 miles. First time was when we had the flat tire and then got sick from eating ice cream. Second time was yesterday when I ran out of daylight. I still have about at least roughly an hour of daylight left. I am at 4.18 miles. So I just finished the trail. I did the backbone. I did all of the alternate trails. Kind of wound around and backtracked a little bit to make it as long as possible. And now I have just under 3/4 of a mile to go. And I am close enough I can see the parking lot, and my legs hurt. And there is a big part of me that just says, 4.18 miles, that's awfully dang good. It's better than you did yesterday. And a year ago, I would have said, man, that is something to be proud of. And don't get me wrong, I am proud. I'm proud of myself for that. But I would have said, that is good enough. Call it a day. And I am not going to do that. I'm going to take my sweaty, stinky self and do this last little bit. I'm going to backtrack on one of the trails. Should add enough distance. So, not giving up. Gonna do 5 miles. Gonna do it. Today's the day. Bye. Look at this, guys. Tiny deer. How cool is that? Another one around the tree. There's the second one. And the third one. Oh my goodness, there's another one. So 4 now. One, 2, 3, 4. So cool. Well, it took me 3 tries. But I did it. Yay! I can't believe it. Almost 5.2 miles today. First time I've ever hiked 5 miles all at once. Oh, I was going to check the elevation gain and I forgot. Probably about 1 million feet. Maybe a little less. I'll take a screenshot of that and put it here. But